Hey guys, and welcome to part 4 of Pronunciation with Mary. And today we're going to be talking about silent letters. So, what the hell are silent letters? These are letters that we have in the spelling of a word, but which we do not say out loud, which we do not pronounce in certain contexts, right? And there tend to be some patterns to this, and we're going to notice all of those patterns as we go along. But not everything is a pattern, right? So sometimes it's just a letter that we do not pronounce in a particular word, and we might even pronounce that same letter in the word family. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So we're going to go alphabetically, and we're going to start with a silent A. And you might have guessed it, but we do not say aesthetic, right? We say aesthetic. Aesthetic. Like imagine that this A is not even there. Aesthetic. Aesthetic. The word bread, we do not say bread, right? We just imagine that this A is not there. So it sounds like bread. The next word, maybe you know it, maybe you don't. It's this middle section on an airplane. Like you have seats on both sides and then this corridor in the middle. It's called an aisle. Aisle, right? So imagine this A is not there. We say aisle. And please remember that over here we have a dark L, so aisle, o, and we do not say this S either, right? So it's like aisle, like I'll go there, aisle. And here we are going to talk about the silent B in certain patterns. And the first pattern is a silent B in MB, right? So we do not say bomb, we say bomb, bomb. Just imagine that this B is not there and it's not bo, it's ba, right? Bomb, bomb. The next word is comb, comb, please remember. And we do not say the B at all. The next word is, you go. Climb, climb. We do not say the B. The next word is thumb, thumb. Right, we do not say the B. The next one is tomb, tomb, right? Not tomb, tomb. The next one is lamb. Remember the a in words that have an M after them, right? So not lamb, but lamb, lamb. And we do not say the B. The next word is dumb, right? Dumb, d, up here, dumb. And we do not say the B. The next word is numb, n, over here, numb, numb. Actually, there is a very, very logical explanation as to why we don't say the B. Try to say mb. It's pretty hard, right? So num and the b is actually formed in the same place as the M. Num. We can't say it, so we don't, right? So num. And bomb again, just because I want you to repeat yourself. So here we have a silent B in the BT pattern. So this is not debt, but instead we say debt, debt. We do not say the B, debt. And I can even hold the T, debt, debt. The next word is doubt. Remember the ow diphthong? Doubt. Right? I don't even have to say the T. It's not silent. It is a held T, right? Doubt, doubt. And we do not say the B. And this last word, remember the dark L, is subtle. This T becomes a flap T because it's trapped between two voiced sounds. So it becomes a flap T. Subtle, subtle, and dark L. Subtle, oh. So now I'm going to ask you to notice the patterns by yourself. Like I just did with the MB and the BT, right? I told you that the B is going to be silent in these patterns. I want you to notice the patterns by yourself. So we're going to train your brain to notice patterns in the English language. And this way it's going to be easier for you to notice other patterns later on. So for example, grammar patterns or vocabulary patterns. So train your brain to notice patterns in the English language and to also notice exceptions. That is also pretty important. So let's take a look at the silent C. There are several patterns. So I'm just going to say the words, you repeat after me, and please take note of the patterns by yourself. So here we're not going to say the S. Muscle, muscle. I'm sorry, we're not going to say the C. Sorry. Muscle, dark L, right? Muscle. The next word is seen, seen. This word is scissors. There's a Z at the end of that, and later on I will tell you why. It's going to be a different story, different lesson, but we are going to cover that too. This word is scenario. O at the end, remember? Scenario, scenario. This word, I think you know what it is. It is science, science. We're not going to say the C. And this word is scent, right? And we do not have to say the T at the end. It can be scent, scent. This is not conscience. It is conscience. 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 It's this thing that you feel when you did something wrong. Nobody knows about it, but you do, right? It is weighing on you. Your conscience is not really happy with you, okay? So here we have a pattern. I hope you noticed it, right? The CS. And in the CS, we do not say the C, we just say the S. So here we're going to have a different pattern. And here it's quick, quick. I just noticed a typo. I wonder if you're going to notice it. So quick, quick, and lack, and bicker. So in the CK pattern, we just say the K, right? Here is the typo. This is supposed to be ACQ, okay? ACQ, acquaintance. Acquaintance. We say the Q, which is not there. I mean, it's supposed to be there. I just made a mistake in the presentation, which happens. So acquaintance and acquire, acquire. So we're not going to say the C in this pattern either. So now moving on to the silent D. Here we have Wednesday. Wednesday, it's not going to be Wednesday or whatever. We do not say the D, Wednesday. Handsome, handsome, right? So here we have a consonant cluster, NDS, and it's pretty hard to say Hannah-dis, right? So we're just going to skip this D in the middle, right? Because it's a consonant cluster, and that is what we do in consonant clusters. We often drop the middle sound to make it easier to pronounce. So it's such a common thing to drop this D that it's become the norm. So we say handsome, handsome. Sandwich, same story. Sandwich, no one says sandwich, okay? Sandwich, up here. Handkerchief, handkerchief. This is going to be an ng. Handkerchief, okay? Handkerchief. Adjective, right? This j is over here. Adjective. Adjust, adjust. It's not adjust, it's adjust, right? The schwa. Adjust. Bridge, bridge. We're not going to say the D. We're not saying bridge, right? Bridge. Edge, edge. And grandson, grandson. I'm not saying grandson, right? So I hope you notice the patterns over here. And we're moving on to the silent E, which is very often silent at the end of a word. Remember the magic E, which makes the vowel in the middle of the word sound like it would in the alphabet sometimes, but not always, right? So this is not a bridge, it's a bridge. So you see, it doesn't always work, but it does some of the time. So this is a bridge, and we're not going to say the E at the end of a word. We're not going to say bridge, right? So this is the magic E, and it makes hat into hate, right? We say the A like we would in the alphabet because it is the magic E, but we don't say the E. The next one is name. This one is breathe, breathe. And if I drop this E, if it were not there, I would say breath, breath. It would be a different word. Breath is a noun. Breathe is a verb. This is, like, this word contains 4 silent letters. We just say the first one, right? It's a Q. right? And Americans don't really use that word pretty often, right? We kind of say line instead of a Q, but sometimes we have to say Q. So we're just going to skip the rest of this word. We're just going to say the first letter. Q. This is plaque. Plaque. I think it's a French word, and we're not going to say the UE at the end of a word. This is come. Come. R. We're not saying the E. Above. Schwas, right? Above. Give. Not give. 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 Some, not some. Some. Remember the closed ah, right? Some. And have, right? A lot of very common words like are, have, done, and so on. They have this E tacked on at the end, which we're not going to say. So moving on to the silent G. And here I would like you to notice some patterns, right? So this word is, you try, don't say the G. Foreign, foreign, foreign. Sign, we're not going to say the G. Design, right? Champagne, right? So here we just replace the G with the Y sound. Champagne. Rain, the Queen's reign, for example. Campaign, right? Campaign. Here, we're not going to say the G either, and it's going to be a gnome, right? Gnome. Align. Light, we're not going to say the G in the GHT sequence, right? Light. High, we're not going to say the G in the GH sequence either. And resign, we had design, this is resign, right? So sometimes a G sounds like a Y, sometimes we just skip it all together, and sometimes we say it, but right now we're focusing on silent G's. So here we have a little trick that I want to show you. Yes, it is design, we skip the G, but designation. Sign, but signature. Resign, but resignation. Malign, but malignant. So that is just how English works, folks. So just bear with it. And moving on to the silent H. In the CH sequence, we often say k, right? Instead of the CH, instead of ch or whatever. So it is a chorus, chorus, not chorus, chorus. This is chaos. Chaos. This is not an archive, as some people like to say. This is an archive. Here, we're not going to say the H at the beginning of a word. This is an heir, right? An heir to the throne, for example. This is an hour. We do not say hour. Honest, right? We do not say honest. It was an honest mistake. Honest. Now, here we have the CH as a K again. Chemical, dark L, chemical. Character, not character, but character. The way I pronounce it is with an E. Character. Some people say character, which is also totally fine. And again, we're not going to say the H in the GH sequence, light or high. And sometimes we even skip the H in the middle of a word, as in this word, vehicle. We do not say vehicle. We say vehicle. Dark L. This is not thigh, but tie. This is Thomas, right? The name Thomas, Tom. Sometimes we do not say the H at the end of a word, like hooray, right? Hooray. We do not say hooray. Okay? So this is a cheetah. I hope you know that. Cheetah. I think you know the animal, right? There are pumas, there are cheetahs. Sometimes we do not say the H after an X. Exhausted, and exhibit, right? And that is not all, right? The H likes to be pretty silent most of the time. So this is rhythm. We do not say rhyme, rhyme. Diarrhea. We do not say the H anywhere in this case. GH is very often just a G. Ghost, ghost. Ghetto, ghetto. This is going to be a flat T, right? Ghetto, O, not ghetto. Ghetto, ooh. Spaghetti, right? Spaghetti. And aghast, aghast. And very often we do not say the H after a W, as in white, or while, dark L, or what, or wheel, dark L. And remember this in while and wheel, remember the extra schwa before the dark L. While, right? While, wheel, wheel. But some people, when they want to sound sophisticated, and some people do, they still pronounce the H after a W. I mean, like in the word white, they're going to pronounce the H, but they're going to put the H before the W. Don't ask me why. Some people do that. So it's going to sound like white, white. I specifically said that with a British accent. I said the T at the end because some British people do that, but not only British people, just some people who want to show off. They put this H at the beginning of a word, and it can be when, right? You just breathe out, like when. And which thing, or like which whatever do you want me to do? So some people say the H, you do not have to, but if you want to blow someone's mind, if you want to sound really sophisticated, you can do that. Just put the H before the W. And there is a word with a silent J, and this is marijuana. We don't say marijuana, right? We say marijuana. Some people like to call it Maria Ivanovna. If that works for you, no problem. So marijuana, this is an association that you can have. Or of course, you can just say weed. But if you're trying to pronounce this word, this is a word with a silent J, marijuana. The silent K is very often found in the KN pattern, as in no, right? No, knee, knock, knock, knowledge. It's not knowledge, it's not knowledge, knit. And we can keep the T so it can be knit, knit. And it's not neat, right? Neat is a different word. This is knit, knit. Knife, not, and knight, right? The knight of shining armor, or the knight of whatever, the knights of the round table, the knight of Camelot. So here we have silent L words. Calf, remember? Calf, half, right? We're not going to say half. Salmon, salmon. Should, we're not going to say should, right? Definitely. Would, would. Remember, not would, but would. The oo, but without the lips going forward. Would. Walk, we're not going to say walk, right? Obviously. Could. Chalk, right? Some people used to draw on a board with chalk in school or whatever. Talk, right? But some people still say the L in these words, and some people say a dark L. Some people just skip the L altogether, right? So if we do say it, then it's a dark L in these words. If we don't say it, then we just don't say it. So some people say calm, right? The dark L is there. Some people say calm, right? Some people say palm tree, right? The L is dark, but it's there. And some people say palm tree, palm tree. Some people say almond, some people say almond, right? So whatever works for you, whatever rocks your boat, just do whatever you want. So the silent M is found in these words, in the word mnemonics, right? Mnemonics. We're not going to say this M. And in a double M situation, we don't say the double M. We just say comma. We don't say comma, right? Communication. We're just going to skip one of the M's in a double M situation. So silent N. A silent N is very often found in MN, right? So autumn, we're not going to say autumn, but autumnal. column, but columnist, right? Because the N becomes part of the next syllable, and we're just going to need to say it. Damn, but damnation. Again, it became part of the next syllable, so we're going to say it. Hymn, but a hymnist, right? A hymnist. So let's move on to the silent O. And we're going to have a silent O in the following situations. In the word enough, enough, right? We're not going to say enough or whatever. Enough. Tough, remember, tough. Jeopardy, we're not going to say jeopardy. Jeopardy. Leopard. People, right? Dark L, people. Chocolate. We're not going to say chocolate. We're going to say chocolate. And Catholic. We're not going to say Catholic. We're going to say Catholic people. So we have a silent P in the following words. Pneumonia, right? An inflammation of the lungs. Pneumonia. Pseudo. Psychology, not P, right? So there is a meme going around or a reel or whatever on Instagram where people are trying to pronounce the word psychology. So cupboard. We're not going to say cupboard, right? It's actually pretty hard to say that. You try. So raspberry. A coup. We're not going to say coop, right? It's a coup. And this word is very often mispronounced by my students. It is receipt. We do not say the P. Receipt. And it is not recept, right? It is the little piece of paper that you get in a store when you buy something, right? It's a receipt. So the silent P can also be present in fast speech. When we have a consonant cluster, remember consonant. If a P ends up in the middle, we will often just skip it, right? We're just often going to jump over it. So an assumption is very often going to be an assumption, right? If you have time, you can say it. If you don't, you can skip it. This word can be empty, right? Empty is an option, but if you're speaking really fast, you're probably going to skip it. Tempt fate. Redemption, right? You can say the P, but very often you're going to skip it. And take a look. It's very often after the M because the M and the P are made in the exact same place, right? With your lips close together. M or P, right? And you're just not going to have time to say it again. Empty, right? Empty. And sometimes the P is there, you release it, but it is such a small release that it is covered up by the T. Empty, right? Empty, right? It was there, but you can barely hear it. So the silent R is a British thing, right? In American, you see the R, you say the R. In British, you skip the R in a lot of places, especially at the end of a word or at the end of a syllable before a different consonant. You're going to skip the R in British. But in American, you see the R, you say the R. So an American would say car, a British would say caw, right? An American would say standard, a British person would say standard, right? They would just say the D at the end instead of the R. An American would say participant, right? We're going to say the R. And a British person is going to skip the R and say participant, right? And an American person is going to say start. We're going to say the R loud and clear, by the way. And a British person would say start, or clear, right? Or whatever they sound like. So we're going to say more. I'm saying we because you and I are learning how to sound American, right? So more for British. River for an American. River for British people. Murderer. It's a word with a lot of R's. Murderer. It's 3 R's right there. And for a British person, it would be murderer. They would just say this R because it is at the beginning of a syllable. So, question for you. How many R's are we going to say in this word on the slide? 1 R or 2 R's? American. The answer is whichever works for you. So some people, American people, say February. Some American people say February. Both are fine, whichever you like. Both can be heard in American speech. So February or February. February is faster to say. February is technically more correct, but whatever works for you. Pick one, say it, or you can just sometimes say February, sometimes say February, whatever you want, whatever feels right in the moment. So, silent S. Like I said before, an SL situation is very often going to end up with just sounding just like an L. Island, isle, island, island, isle, dark L in isle. Illinois, right? We're not going to say Illinois. Illinois. And this word is Arkansas. Yeah, I know. Arkansas. Not Arkansas. Sorry. Arkansas. And this is debris. Debris. So sometimes we don't say the S at the end of a word. There are very specific situations. These are some of them. And if you just notice such a word, if you hear a person saying a word and you know that it is spelled with an S, you can just collect these words as you hear them and make note of them. Like, okay, this word is also one of those weird words that has an S at the end, but we're just not going to say it. So add it to your file. So the silent T is very often found in the middle of a consonant cluster, just like the silent P that we already talked about. So castle. Castle. We do not say castle, right? Castle, no T. Nestle, nestle, dark L, by the way. Listen, we're not going to say listen, listen. Ballet, right? When we have a French word that ends in ET, we're not going to say the ET, we're just going to say ballet. Bouquet, gourmet, right? And here we have another consonant cluster, Christmas. We're not going to say Christmas, right? Christmas. Which, we're just going to hold the T before the next consonant. Which. Mortgage, nobody says the T in the word mortgage. And this word can be pronounced both ways. It can be often, that is the way I pronounce it, but a lot of Americans say often. Both are fine. Pick whatever you like. So the silent T is very often found after an N. Remember, we often hold the T after an N. 20, right? 20 instead of 20. Both are technically fine, but a lot of people say 20. Wanted. I wanted to call you, but you were somewhere else. So wanted. You can say wanted, right? But a lot of people are going to say wanted. Interview. Printer. International. Yeah, you can say international. It's not going to be a mistake, but we just very often hold the T here, international. Document. We just don't say the T at the end of a word. Sentence, right? Yeah, technically it's sentence, but a lot of people say sentence. Center. Santa Claus, Santa, right? Santa Claus. Advantage, okay? And we hold the T before an N. So here we held the T, we just didn't say it after an N. Here we're going to hold it before an N. So a button becomes a button, right? Button. Take a look. Button, but bottom. We're not going to say button. No, we're going to say button. But bottom. Gotten, right? Like you're swallowing something. Gotten. But getting. I'm not going to say getting. Getting. Flat T. Getting, but gotten. Mountain, right? A mountain river. Eaten. Sometimes we say Eden. No, we don't. Eaten. Britain, right? Forgotten. Lighten, lightning. written, certain, certain, important. Here, it's a double T situation, right? So we're not going to say this T, we're going to hold it, and we're not going to say this T. Important. And that's it. Important, right? It sounds important. So the word something, right? Something is going to take a lot of time to say. And sometimes you're going to hear it like this. Something, something. Yeah, you heard me right. Something. So the NG becomes an N, right? So this NG, something, becomes something. And then the TH becomes a T. And this way we have a T before an N, and we just say something, something. It's just faster. Here we have a silent U. Build, build, dark L, remember build. Guess, guide. We already talked about this word. How do we say it? That's right, Q. Guard, guard. Please say the R. We're not British. Guitar, guitar. Why are we not making this T a flap T? Can you please remind me? Because I seem to have forgotten. That's right. Bingo. Because it starts a stressed syllable. I can't say guitar, right? Because the T starts a stressed syllable. Guitar, right? So I have to add extra air to the T. Guitar. Silhouette, silhouette. Here we have a silent H as well. Guilty, guilty. Circuit. We're not going to say circuit. No, circuit. Antique. The QE at the end of a word is very often dropped. Antique. Unique. Tongue. Remember, tongue. And vogue. The UE at the end of a word is very often dropped. And the silent W is also a pretty common occurrence. So low, right? Low. Draw, draw. The W before an R at the beginning of a word is all pretty often going to be silent. So wrap, not wrap, wrap. Wrist, this is your wrist. Right, wrong. Who, right? Here we have a WH, but we're saying the H and we're dropping the W. Who, whole, dark L, whole, and whose, Z, whose. And we do not say the W in the word to and in the word answer. Answer. We do not say answer. Answer. Okay. The X is going to be silent in French words like faux pas and stuff like that, but basically you don't need to worry about that. But saying the letter X can be a bit tricky. So it can be exam, exam, example. It can be extra, TR together are going to give us a ch sound. Remember? Extra. Except. How do we say this word? It is Xerox. Xerox. This beginning X, this X at the beginning of the word Xerox is Z. Xerox and xenophobe. Xenophobe. Yeah. Okay? So, that's the way it works. We also sometimes have a silent Y, as in the word prayer, but pray. Okay, so we're going to say the Y sound here, but we're not going to say it here. So prayer, but pray. And sometimes we even have silent syllables. So it's when a whole part of the word just goes somewhere, goes for a walk. We're not going to say actually, we're going to say actually or actually, right? Actually. We're not going to say aspirin, we're going to say aspirin. Average. Basically. Beverage. Repeat after me. Different. Very often it's an E, right? Different. We're not going to say different. Different. Extraordinary, not extraordinary. Evening. Every, not every, right? Every. Family. family. Generally, not generally, generally. Broccoli, broccoli. Here are some more. Business, not busyness, right? Business. Camera, camera. Catholic, we already talked about this word. Chocolate, chocolate. Favorite, favorite, not favorite. Interest, interest. Remember the T and the R together are going to give us the ch sound. Interest, interesting. Laboratory, or we just say lab. Liberal, liberal, dark L. Opera, aw, remember the aw sound? Opera. Comfortable, comfortable. Comfort, this is going to be a flap T, comfortable. Coverage, coverage. Desperate, desperate. And we don't have to say the last T at all, right? Desperate. Diamond, diamond, not diamond. Diaper. Practically, practically. Preference, preference. Several, several, dark L. Temperature, temperature, not temperature. Theory, theory. And vegetable, vegetable. There is no table in the word vegetable. So good job. Now you know a lot about the silent letters in American, and see you next time.